And welcome back. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and let's get to it. So, today, on today's gathering, we're going to go ahead and talk about three different things. One of those things is going to be about the 30th anniversary, but not necessarily about the perceived value. But overall, look, the 30th anniversary is going to be a pretty good set. I do think that it's going to be printed like crazy. So maybe don't FOMO into buying things real quick or overpaying for it. But we'll talk about some of the artists that I'm hoping come out, but we're not entirely sure. So we're gonna so that's gonna be one of those things. Talking about the artists of the 30th anniversary. We're also gonna go ahead and talk about Tag's newest post. Their transparency post talking about the backlog and what it means going forward, especially for August and September, and possibly for the remainder of the year. Let's get to it. Let's get started with today's episode. So, let's go ahead and talk about one of the main things that we're going to be opening up with, but it's going to be with the Tag's new transparency report about the backlog. Like, they're adding a new feature online about their backlog report and kind of keeping us updated of when they're going to go ahead and open up some of the other submission tiers, and we don't have to pay $150 to go ahead and grade with them. Like I said before, I always thought that them charging $150 and kind of just closing, closing grading in general, it was a good move and a bad move for them. It was a good move because it shows that they care about the customer service and they care about the people who love to grade with Tag. That's a fantastic part. The bad part is I want Tag to succeed, and there's a lot of content creators, there's a lot of collectors, there's a lot of people who do believe in Tag's product and their overall mission statement. So them canceling value bulk grading so they can go ahead and move, expand, and do whatever they need to seemed kind of like a bad business move. Maybe they should have taken the same approach as PSA and try to capitalize and continue building that backlog as they also move on to their new area, get new machines, get new people, new workers, so they can go ahead and do their regular business. But look, so they posted a comment, like they posted a picture on social media, but let's look at the cliff notes. So what is Tag essentially saying with all this? The big picture is they received more submissions that they could have handled. 420% over capacity. So to put it in perspective, every single month they had a backlog of like basically 4.5 months, whenever at their peak of their submissions. Now, I want to believe that this were collectors grading with Tag, but there is a good probability, a more likely probability, that the people who were really grading with Tag were other businesses, ribbon shippers, mystery bag consultants, or mystery bag vendors, whatever you want to call them. That's who was really submitting a ungodly amount of bulk cards into Tag, and that's probably someone that you guys are gonna have to compete with down the future if you guys are gonna be collecting and grading with Tag, mostly grading. But now, by their post, they've said that they've reduced their backlog by 43%. So they're still operating, but they still have a backlog of 237% from their normal capacity. So like if we really break it down, let's say that Tag goes and grades around 10,000 cards a month. At peak demand, they had roughly around 42,000 cards in waiting while they were grading. So yeah, they're grading 10,000 might not seem like a lot. It is a fairly new company, but this is one of those new companies that's kind of innovating grading as a whole. So you can see a lot more people entering the hobby that don't want to go with the standard or normal PSA, that they're going to go with Tag for collecting, or they probably see Tag as a future of grading in order for them to grade and to resell or to collect or whatever they want to do. But Tag is a real big competitor moving forward. So in the end of August, they're going to go ahead and open up some limited spots for grading. Regardless, we don't know what kind of standard, we don't know their prices, we don't know anything about it, but they're just going to say they're going to go ahead accept more grading all over again, and by the end of September they should be back to normal capacity. But we don't know what normal capacity is. We also don't know how many or what's going to be the tiers or the options that we will have as collectors to go ahead and grade with them. But so here's the thing. This is where I'm like, if you grade with tag and if you're a collector, I would say you don't still have to rush to go ahead and grade. Hopefully you guys been taking my advice that you guys should be sourcing cards that you want to go ahead and grade, like good quality cards that you want to go ahead and grade for your collection. And whether if you're a vendor, whether if you've been trading with friends, or whether if you do what I do and you go to card shops and buy the cards that you guys want for your PC, hopefully you have good couple cards that you can go ahead and grade. You have available for grade. If you're looking to make like a little side business with tag grading, hopefully you've been buying cards for cheap at a good amount so you guys can go ahead and grade whatever you guys want to go ahead and grade and sell to the collectors out there in the world. Look, I think one of the biggest things that I've enjoyed being part of this hobby and being a little bit more vocal is that I can say things like, hey, I really like Japanese cards, and there's people who collect Japanese cards. I think there's also people who like to collect Cosmo Hollows, and so people do go ahead and buy your graded Cosmo Hollows. They do go ahead and buy your graded Japanese cards. So there is a market for tag graded cards selling out in the secondary market. The only thing that this post does is like, hey, they've added a backlog tracker. They told us that there's going to be limited submissions coming up in the end of August, and by the end of September everything should be back to normal, which should be right before the release of the 30th anniversary. So look, honestly, if everything is back to normal and you guys can do bulk grading or value grading, and if they have a reasonable price for bulk grading or value grading, I'm gonna go ahead and buy a couple cards or couple slots, couple submissions. Doesn't mean I'm gonna send them right off the bat, but I'm gonna have at least 2 to 3 submissions ready to go. I'm gonna buy them, have them ready to go, and then I'm gonna go look at my cards and see which ones are gonna be the cards that I'm gonna send for grading. If by any chance you guys got lucky with the 30th anniversary pre-order drop that we just had this week, or if you guys have been ordering any 30th anniversary, or you guys are getting something that might be worth grading, I would advise that you guys do the same. Buy your submission whenever you can, at earliest as your convenience, at the lowest price, especially if you're going to be sending for multiple cards. And then after you buy those submissions, pick the cards that you want to go ahead and grade. Do your due diligence. Use the apps where if you want to check for centering, for scratches and whatnot, to see what's going to be the best cards you can go ahead and send for grading, so you guys can go ahead and capitalize on your guys' margins if you guys are looking to resell. But if you guys are looking to collect, then honestly I would say you don't have a rush. Maybe you can go ahead and buy a submission for cards that you want to just go ahead and get encased in plastic, because as a collector, I don't think you should really be focused or worried about just getting 10s. But if you guys got some valuable cards that you want to go ahead and encase in plastic and really protect them against the elements, against UV, against wind, rain, whatever reason, I don't know if you guys will have your cards out there, but most importantly, maybe against your pets or your dogs, pets like your dogs or like kids, maybe go ahead and buy a submission so you guys can go ahead and encase those valuable cards in a piece of plastic and really preserve them for the long run. That would be my advice. But the only thing that this post failed to mention is going to be what are going to be the value tiers that we're going to be getting, or what's going to be available for us whenever they do grading at the end of August. Are they going to be doing your standard grading where we're looking at $38 per card with the tag score included? And do we have to wait till the end of August to do bulk grading? We don't know what the price is. Last time I believe it was $19 or maybe $21 for bulk grading with no tag score. But look, like I've said before, there's going to be some cards that you guys have to get the tag score for sure. Cards that you have to get tag score for sure are going to be your chase cards. If you have any high-end chase cards for any of the new modern sets, you got to have the tag score available. Especially when it comes to reselling, people are going to end up buying the highest graded tag score card. Force Chew, Mega Gengar, Mega Charizard, whatever, right? They're going to want to have the highest, mintiest score. And the only way that you're going to be able to support your claim that your card is better than everyone else's, especially if it gets a 10, is by getting the score. So do that. If you have hyper modern chase cards, if you also have vintage cards that you want to go ahead and send for grading, get the score. There's a good possibility that you might not get a 10 in that card. That doesn't mean that your card is not valuable. When it comes to vintage from cards of the WotC era, 9s, you can make significant amount of money. You can increase the amount of the value of your collection if you guys convert a raw card to a tag 9, but make sure that you guys also get the tag score to go with it, because at a 9, you want to have the highest 9 if it's almost impossible to get a 10 on WotC era cards or vintage cards. But outside from that, the last thing that we're going to go ahead in today's video is we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the cards that we've collected, and then how we're going to collect that to the 30th anniversary. Look, so always, like always, I keep going to the card store weekly. It sucks that I got a route right next to like a card shop, because now I do have a couple of dollars in my pocket, and I'll just walk in there and be looking for some cheap stuff that I like to collect by the bulk. And we're gonna go ahead and start with Cosmo Hollows. Look, I got an Abra, beautiful Cosmo Hollow card. A card like Abra will go for like around $1, so it's a cheap pickup at the moment. It's Gen 1. It should not be hard to find. It is a card from like the blisters, from a Checkline blister. So, if you find an Abra in the store, keep looking, because there's a good opportunity that you'll probably end up finding a Kadabra as well. So you'll be having 2 Cosmo Hollow cards, Gen 1s if you will. You have Abra, Kadabra, and all you need is Alakazam, so you can go ahead and finish the evolution line if you rather collect Cosmo Hollow cards and maybe even get those graded. The thing that makes me happy about this Kadabra, and I know it's going to be very hard to show, but there's actually a swirl right in front of the spoon. There is a swirl right in front of the spoon. So, I think that's almost perfect placement. I guess maybe the only other placement that could be better might be right there in between its head and the spoon. But for a psychic type Pokemon, having a swirl by the spoon, honestly, that's a pretty cool placement. Other Cosmo Hollow cards that I was able to get for less than 20 cents are Yanma. I've been picking these up all day, every day, just because they go for like 20 cents. Look, there's a good chance that if you're like me and you have an energy drink addiction or caffeine addiction or any kind of addiction, and you go to convenience stores, you might have some loose change. You might have a jar of loose change. So getting Cosmo Hollow cards for 20 cents, oh, come on, that's a no-brainer. That is absolutely a no-brainer. A very easy to find Cosmo Hollow card at the moment is going to be Typic from Ascended Heroes. Typic is not going to have any crazy value because it's not a starter that a lot of people do enjoy. Personally, I kind of vibe with Typic and Emboar, and I get it. It's another firefighter Pokemon. We got Typic, we got the chick Pokemon, and we got Infernape. So we have literally 3 firefighters. But, I'm okay. I'm okay with having Typic. Chien-Pao. We also managed to get Chien-Pao in its original case. I believe this card I was able to get it for $14. Unfortunately, I could not locate a swirl on it, but this is a card, a Cosmo Hollow card for less than 15 cents. Sorry, I don't know if I said dollars, but less than 15 cents, this is an automatic pickup for me. Like I'm telling you, I can walk into a car store with $3 to $5 and I'm leaving with like 10 Cosmo Hollows. Maybe I suggest that you guys do the same, especially if you're Cosmo Hollow collectors. Don't settle for just one. Look for the best possible copy that you might be able to find out there. Now, you guys already know, I collect Cosmo Hollows and Black Star promos in the Angler side. One of the cheaper ones at the moment is going to be Fennekin. You can go ahead and find Fennekin at the moment somewhere under $4, like around $3.50 to $4, depending on the card shop and your negotiating prices. But the Fennekin Fasatoma, great looking card. It follows that trend of a starter by the window. So you, like I said before, you have Sporter, you have Charmander, you have Bulbasaur. Now we got Fennekin. I wonder how many more starters like this are we gonna get in a household setting in front of the mirrors. Now, let's go ahead and look at some of the other cards that I was able to pick up in Japanese for this week. Starting off with Iron Jugulis by Ghidorah. So what do I like about Ghidorah? What do I like about this card? Honestly, it just looks great. Every single time I look at this card, it gives me like retro cyberpunk Miami Vice feels. Good colors. The only thing I hate about Iron Jugulis is that you can only get this Pokemon late game in Scarlet and Violet, so a lot of people are probably not attached to it. But Ghidorah, if you look at Ghidorah cards, you will see that they typically really do a lot of trainers. They do a lot of trainer arts, not so many Pokemon, but the few Pokemon cards, they do pretty good. We're talking about Ducklet from White Flare. We're talking about Hisui and Growlithe with the connecting art of Perrin. You know, they keep incorporating different Pokemon, like a trainer into their Pokemon cards, but this is one of Ghidorah's few cards where there is no trainer. It is just a Pokemon and the night sky with Miami vibe feels. It's just a great looking card. Honestly, I like this card a lot. It's one of those cards that I wouldn't mind having a 10 in my collection just because I think it really is that great. It's not that I'm trying to shill, but look at the lights. Look at that holo. It's sweet. Now let's look at a card by Akira Igawa. Probably one of their cheaper cards in their arsenal. Not a lot of people like Okie Dokie, and because that was part of the DLC of the Scarlet and Violet game. But this is gonna be the first illustration rare, art rare, whatever you want to call them, of this legendary Pokemon. And it's done by Akira Agawa. So it could be a potential big play down the road. We're talking about multiple years just because it's of a legendary Pokemon. The art is not too bad. Personally, we have this one and we have the Okie Dokie from Shrine of Fable where it's just the full body. I enjoy this one more. And if this card was textured, it would probably be a better card to pick up. But you know, it's just a regular illustration rare, a regular art rare from the Mask of Change or Twilight Masquerade set. You should be able to find this card pretty common because that set was kind of ripped a lot since it didn't have a lot of value. A lot of people believe that it was Greninja or bust, so cards like this should be easy to find at a very cheap price. Now, for my chase card of the week that I was finally able to collect was Dottler, illustrated by one of my favorite artists, just like we talked about him last week. It's going to be Tetsuka Yama. Now, Dottler, I think overall, the Dottler evolution line, or, you know, because into Orbeetle, it's just so good. Like, especially the Gigantamax of Orbeetle. It goes so hard with the UFO vibes that it gives. Scalper Chris ended up picking up the one with Dioxys, and it has a Gigantamax Orbeetle behind it, and it's a great looking card. This card being by Tetsuka Yama, I just love it. Like, honestly, it's a great looking card. I'm happy that I added this card in my collection. Look at the holo. It really does look great. It really does look great. And look, how am I going to connect talking about Tetsuka Yama and the 30th anniversary? So last week we just got the full release rest of the booklet of the 30 Pikachus that we're going to be getting in the 30th anniversary, not to mention the full art rares and special art rares in the booklet that we're going to be getting for the 30th anniversary. Look, the 30th anniversary is going to be a goated set. It's going to have a little bit of everything for everyone. We're talking about the classic collection, which is going to be the reprinted vintage cards from Pokemon's past. We're going to be getting those. If you're a half art collector like myself, then you're going to be able to collect 30 different Pikachus by 30 different artists, which I think it's great. And then if you like the art rares that you guys are seeing in the Scarlet and Violet era and in the Mega Evolution era that kind of got a lot of people back into the hobby, then there you can collect that too. Now, it looked like Tetsu Kayama ended up getting a Pikachu underneath the leaf whenever it's raining. Now, I need a hard confirmation to know that it's a Tetsu Kayama card, but if so, that's going to be one of the cards that I'm going to be going hard after. I'm pretty sure a lot of people won't, because a lot of people are going to be going for the Shinji Kanda Pikachu. They're going to be going for the not Tetsu Kayama. They're going to be going for the Shinji Kanda Pikachu, for the Komakaze Komiya, for the James Turner. Personally, I'm also going to be going for the James Turner, and they're also going to be going for the Okachete Pikachu, you know, the Pikachu that's going through the rail stairs. Now, there's a couple artists that I didn't see that I was really hoping that maybe we would see on the 30 different Pikachus. Those two artists are going to be Rand, which is the person that illustrated or does like hyper realistic art on Pokemon, like the ferret from Journey Together. I wish they would give Rand a crack of illustrating a Pikachu to see their interpretation of a super hyper realistic Pikachu. Like, I think honestly it would be great. You know, if I would take a Pikachu in the same form that he did Ferret, it would just look great. Honestly, I think it would look great. Just having a close-up of Pikachu, but just seeing how it would look like in real life, I think better. It will end up coming out better than the Detective Pikachu that we've gotten in the movies or in the cards. I'm just saying, that's my personal opinion, but I think Rand not getting a Pikachu for the 30th anniversary is a missed opportunity for Pokemon. And the last artist that possibly got snubbed that I didn't see was Osare. Now, Osare does great art, very simplistic, very colorful. We're talking about like the Cubchoo. We're also talking about Peturant, but I would like to see a very circular, very colorful Pikachu, maybe even a fat Pikachu, like whatever they wanted to do. But I would like to see one of how they would interpret their Pikachu. Also from that, I think the 30th set is going to be great. You know, for me, I'm personally going to be going after the Pikachus, especially the Tetsu Kayama Pikachu. Hopefully I can get a great copy so I can go ahead and grade it and have it in my PC. But I'm going to be going after all 30 Pikachus. Look, now the tag is going to go ahead and open up their grading in the end of August and September. I don't think you guys should be rushing to grade with them. If you have some moves that you want to do someplace, then go ahead. Don't be afraid of grading with tag. But I think one of the biggest things that we have to wait to see is what are going to be their service tiers and what are going to be the price that they're going to be doing these graded, their grading services at. I mean, also, like I said, if you're going to be grading with tag, depending on the cards, strongly consider getting the score on it. Personally, I believe that tag should incorporate the score for free. That's their gimmick, transparency. They boast about their 1,000-point grading scale. Why isn't it free? Why is it locked behind a paywall? We should be vocal as tag fan and supporters that tag score should be free. Outside from that, I do hope that you guys having a fantastic day. If there's anything that I like that you guys liked, make sure you guys leave a comment, like the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Outside from that, I do hope that you guys are having a fantastic day, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.